The couple was lying in the car happily chatting. Suddenly, a meteor fell nearby. The two walked closer to take a look and realized it was the wreckage of a satellite. When the military arrived at the crash site, they found that the satellite was already gone. Turns out the couple had already taken the satellite back to their town, but they didn't know the satellite carried a virus, which made all the townspeople drop dead on the streets. They even lost control and started hurting themselves. The only survivors were an old man and a child, Jamie and Dr. Pete found out through research that this virus came from outer space, but why it showed up on the satellite, only the military could explain that to them. Then the general told them the truth. Turns out that shattered satellite was an experiment used by the military to collect wormhole data and matter. Seeing the situation getting worse, the general immediately reported the lab data to the president. To get the outbreak under control, the president ordered a nuclear strike. Soon soldiers flew into the quarantine zone with the nuke, but that's when Jamie suddenly discovered the nuke couldn't kill the alien microbes. It absorbed the nuclear radiation and got even stronger. Hearing the news, the general immediately contacted the Defense Department to stop the launch, but just as the pilot got the order and was about to return, the soldier's helmet started melting, and the plane went out of control and started to crash, and the nuclear radiation quickly spread throughout the town. Through the video recorded before the crash, Jamie saw the virus had already mutated. It had even reached the point where it could control animals to attack humans, so the military sent troops to wipe out the infected creatures inside the quarantine zone. At the same time, the lab was also rushing to study the virus. They discovered the microbes were sulfur-based, and the old man who survived had a very serious stomach illness, and had been taking amoxicillin for a long time. The baby had a hernia. Crying for a long time made him short of breath, which also caused acidosis in his body, so they concluded that the microbes could only survive within a certain pH range. Meanwhile, the test results of the black substance on the satellite came out. Inside was a hidden string of numbers. It was a code for the virus, and below the code was the word Clostridium. Clostridium can survive in extremely acidic environments, and it feeds on sulfur, so they could use Clostridium to fight the alien microbes. Meanwhile, the soldiers stationed outside the quarantine zone suddenly saw a flock of virus-carrying crows rushing toward them. The soldiers had no power to resist, because as soon as the crows touched them, they would die. After everyone died, the crows acted like their mission was complete, and all fell into the river. It seemed the virus had evolved again. It wanted to spread by contaminating the river, and at that time at the wildfire lab, Jamie and the others confirmed that Clostridium was the weapon against the alien microbes. When the general heard the experiment worked, he immediately ordered his men to spray Clostridium throughout the contaminated zone. At the same time, Jamie told Tina to get rid of the samples in the lab, but Tina secretly kept a sample of the virus. Turns out the appearance of the virus made the government see the power of biological weapons. They wanted to use this virus to conquer the world, so the officials kidnapped Tina's family and threatened her to take out a sample of the virus. Helpless Tina had no choice but to do it. That's when the alarms in the lab suddenly went off. The security system detected a virus leak and automatically activated the self-destruct program. There were only 15 minutes left before the lab would be blown to the ground, but only Pete had the authority to stop the explosion. The assistant was about to run out, but the flashing lights triggered his epilepsy, and he accidentally crashed into the control panel. Seeing this, Pete had to go to another level to stop the self-destruct program, but the elevator had already stopped working, so they had to climb down the elevator shaft. But halfway down, Pete slipped and fell into the nuclear radiation pool below. Since the shutdown device required Pete's fingerprint, the assistant, ignoring the danger, jumped straight into the radiation pool, and after throwing Pete's finger to Jamie, the assistant also died in the pool from radiation. But Jamie didn't have time to grieve. He kept climbing up, but when he tried to climb over the pipe, he accidentally fell down. Luckily, he still reached the target. As the time kept ticking down, Jamie ignored the pain and kept crawling forward. At the very last second before the explosion, he successfully stopped the self-destruct program. Relieved, Jamie completely passed out. At the same time, the alien microbes in the quarantine zone were visibly wiped out. When the people on the helicopter saw this, they all cheered excitedly.